Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the solar annular eclipse that's happening on the 14th of October 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. This eclipse is also a new moon in Libra, and it happens at 5:54 in the afternoon, and that's based on Central European time. If you're in a different time zone, then take that into account, please. If you're east of Europe, it'll happen later on in the evening on the 14th, or even early in the morning on the 15th. And if you're west of Europe, in North or South America, it'll happen around lunchtime or in the morning in that time zone. It's interesting as well because this annular eclipse you'll be able to see in North America and in Central America most specifically. And an annular eclipse is when the moon moves in front of the sun and it blocks it out, but it doesn't block it out completely. So we'll see this kind of ring around the sun. Eclipses are really important when it comes to the astrology because they occur during a new moon or a full moon, and that's a natural event that happens every month. The new moon is very much about taking a moment and saying, okay, what am I going to do next? How am I going to use my energy effectively? And the full moon is very much about, I've reached this completion point. I've accomplished what I set out to do. So with this being a new moon in Libra, first of all, that Libra energy is being pulled in, but it is interrupted, right? So the pioneering energy of the new moon, that desire to create a circumstance rather than to respond to one, that's going to be available to you here, but it's also available to you, like I said, for the next 6 months. So it bodes really well as far as your relationships are concerned, who you connect with, how you connect with them, what's being said, and it really gives you a greater sense of control of this is what I want in my relationships, therefore I'm able to make it happen. Okay, so let's have a look at all these different things that are going on in the chart. So first of all, we have the sun in Libra at 21 degrees. So the sun is your conscious identity. It's what you're striving towards. If you think of it in your chakra system, it's the solar plexus chakra. It's the thing that's central to you. It's what gives you a feeling of power, control, warmth, energy, and it's really something that you're striving towards. So the sun in Libra here immediately connects you with the realms of Libra. Libra is an air sign that's ruled by Venus, the creative planet of love and beauty. So first of all, it immediately does what it says on the tin here. It gives you a heightened sense of creativity, and you find it much easier to connect yourself with other people, with the creative process, with the higher realms. I always look at Libra, and specifically the glyph of Libra, as a bridge with a bump in it. So Libra allows you to overcome obstacles in order to connect. And even, and I don't usually mention this, but it's coming to me today, the ability to kind of put your own self and your own needs aside, simply to listen to what another person is saying, to find out what they've got going on, and it creates a much more kind of fertile environment for good new relationships to occur. 2 and 1 in numerology is 3. 3 is communication and new beginnings. So that's very aligned with Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity. She likes to start new projects. She likes to give life to things that only exist in your imagination at the moment. So it's really a prompt to express yourself via your creativity, but then also because Libra is about the community and relationships and other people, there may be a strong desire to start new connections and to start over and to say, okay, these are my relationships. Instead of working on the existing ones, what else is out there for me? How do I go on a new adventure? How do I form new connections? The moon is 1 degree away, so that's kind of telling to me in the sense that 1 in numerology, again, is the vibration of the magician, the boss, the person who says, this is what we're doing, the authority figure and the leader, right? So there's a lot of this energy floating around, and I'm not even talking about the fact that Libra is a cardinal sign. That's the kind of astrological mode that's associated with it. And that mode is all about, again, saying this is what's happening, so I'm going to do it by myself. It's really, I'm the boss, I'm taking charge. So Libra is very powerful in that sense because it's able to operate independently in and around other people, and it's able to set intentions as in, this is what I want to happen in my relationships. So in that sense, you could really look at Libra as the social planner, the person who can really manage relationships, and not just from this is how it makes me feel, but other people in my life and kind of on a practical level, what does that allow me to do? So, you know, some people are going to be friends with pretty much anybody, and their standard for friendship is having someone to go to the movies with or someone to eat in a restaurant. Some people don't need their friends to know every detail about their life or to understand what's going on in their soul. Other people will only have friendships like that, like really good friendships with people who really, really know them. And it's different for everybody, but whatever the case is for you, it allows you to connect with those people and to gain an understanding of, this is what I do in my relationships. Am I still happy with this? As in, for instance, friendships have to be like, you know, like blood brothers almost. Or is it okay to have like more social friends? So the good thing is that you'll have a sense of clarity around who's in your life, what it is you want, if there is anything missing or not. The moon then represents your feelings, right? So if the sun represents what you're striving towards in your conscious identity, then the moon is the subconscious identity. It's what you really feel in your bones, and it's your intuition and your gut feeling and what really is a core part of you. And that is very aligned with the sun. So your heart, the moon, and your head, the sun, are in the same place, 1 degree apart. The moon is at 20 degrees in Libra. So the moon in Libra, again, heightens that ability to be creative. So if you're going into your heart, that's kind of where Venus, the planet of love and beauty and the ruler of Libra, resides. And that will give you lots of new ideas for creativity, for expressing yourself in some sort of beautiful way that other people can connect with. Or it's this strong desire that I want to connect and I want to build bridges here. So if you feel like your life has got somewhat small, you know, you don't have as many friends as you used to, or there aren't as many parties to go to or events or whatever, and you miss that, or you've never had it and you want to experience that for the first time, this eclipse is really going to put you in this spot of consider where you're at with your relationships, whether you're satisfied or not, and then it gives you the option to do something about it in a really practical way. Also, the moon at 20 degrees, 20 reduces to 2 in numerology, and 2 is cooperation and is communication and it's relationship. So you're really good at that. And also with all of this being in the cardinal sign of Libra at 3 degrees and at 20 degrees, the sun and the moon respectively, I think it's important to speak up and to show people who you really are so that they can get to know you. We've also got Mercury nearby this new moon in Libra. So Mercury is the communication planet. That's at 17 degrees in Libra as well. So Mercury is the planet that's about ideas and expressing them. It rules Gemini, an air sign, and Virgo, an earth sign. Gemini is outward. I speak, I talk, I communicate. Virgo is I listen, I learn, I assess. With it being in Libra, it's very happy, and feel free to disagree with me on that if you have a different opinion. But because Mercury is in an air sign of Libra, which connects it to all other things, communication is exceptional, and it's also very creative, and you're not just able to communicate facts and figures, you're able to do it creatively or elegantly or beautifully or with a sense of flair and style. So all you designers out there, everyone in mediation or anyone who's a boss trying to get people to see what the new plan is, this is a really good day to present yourself, to put your best foot forward and to come across in the way that you want. If the charm and the personality or the personableness goes in and out, this is a really good time to make those connections and to get people on board. So it's an eclipse, it's a new moon, so I would say you'll feel this on the 14th of October, but also the day before and the day after, so 13th, 14th and 15th of October. Also near the new moon, we have the south node at 25 degrees in Libra, and that's lovely because it gives you a sense of, I know how to get creative in my own right. So I remember that I drew a beautiful bird when I was 5 years old. Of course I can do it. It's that sense of I know how to do this without question. And it's also a sense of confidence that if I want something to change in my relationships, I can get creative with that and I can alter them. It's really you taking charge of your relationships. Yes, taking charge of your relationships. Mars is nearby at 1 degree in Scorpio. Mars in Scorpio is very focused on having an intense connection. It wants to feel. And you know what that example I mentioned before about the different types of friendship? Mars at 1 degree in Scorpio wants a friend or a relationship where you know what's going on inside the other person. It wants to be as intimate and as close as possible. And the point is to gain understanding so that you can heal and grow together. So, yes, you do crave intensity and connection, but your heart is in the right place and you want that in order to grow close to another person or place or thing so that you can grow strong together. So this is you really kind of gathering your team here. Ceres is also nearby. Ceres is, I always look at the goddess Demeter. It's the harvest and abundance and plenty. 12 degrees in Scorpio, an abundance of feelings. So if you are making those new connections, let your feelings guide you. This is someone I immediately click with. We like each other. Let's have a chat. This is someone I don't feel so comfortable with. Let me talk to that person where things naturally work. So all of those lumped together, it's called a stellium when 3 or more things are together in a chart. And I always spell this because I didn't know how to spell it and no one else does just from the word. It's Stellium, stellium. Yeah. So all of them blend their energies together, and to me it looks like a party. It looks like I like being around people, I feel comfortable, I know how to communicate, I can tell funny jokes, I know where I'm at and how I'm coming across, I can read the room. Emotionally, I know what's working and what isn't. I'm just, you know, when you're at school or you're at university or some sort of social thing, and if you're in a group of people and you tell, you make a comment, and that one person laughs, or you're observing, you're in a group and someone makes a comment and another person laughs at that comment. I can almost guarantee you that after that course or group or whatever it may be, that the person who made the joke and the person who laughed at it are going to connect after the group and they will have a little bit of a chat. I had a moment like that where I went to see a theatre performance in Manchester years ago, and it was Rosencrantz and Guildenstern was the play. And it was like a comedy, but there were certain parts of the play where everyone laughed and certain parts where no one laughed, but it was just me and this other person in the audience laughing at exactly the same bits. And I didn't get to speak to that person. I couldn't find them afterwards. But that's such a weird moment of like, wow, someone shares something with me, like my sense of humor or my perspective or something. It's a really interesting moment. So that's what this eclipse is all about. It really allows you to look for the good stuff in your relationships and to get onto the same page with another person you want to get on the same page with. And the fact that this is an eclipse then bodes really well for the rest of 2023 in terms of relationships. An eclipse season is important because it kind of provides the content for what comes next, right? So relationships are going to be important. We've got another eclipse happening in 2 weeks on the 28th of October. So we've got something else kind of really setting the context here. So this is the first of those two, and this really highlights, if you're doing stuff, if you're out and about, give yourself the present of allowing relationships to flourish and thrive and see what they bring into your life. We then have the new moon in Libra forming oppositions with Chiron in Aries and the North Node at 25 degrees in Aries. Chiron in Aries is very focused on personal healing. It is the wounded healer in the chart, and it's at 17 degrees with 1 and 7 is 8, and 8 is strength and power. And it's in your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. So the key here is to connect on a spiritual level for healing. And then you can go out into the world and have amazing relationships. If you do it the other way around, if you go out into the world and look for other people to heal you, then the whole thing isn't going to work as nicely, because this is about finding an equal. This isn't about finding a new caretaker or someone else to dominate, you know, relationships that are unequal. So Chiron in Aries is usually focused on what is it that I'm getting out of this and how can I help myself in this situation. In this case, it's I want to connect to the higher realms to heal anything that's blocking me from having good relationships. I want to have a word, so to speak, and then I want to go into action and use all of this amazing public kind of social energy. The North Node at 25 degrees in Aries, try doing things differently. Get creative with your relationships or with the kind of landscape of your life, the people who are in it. And just simply ask yourself, is this how I want it to be, or do I want it to be different? There's no harm in that. And the good thing is that you then have the know how to implement those things. Okay, so we've got some other relationships that the new moon in Libra forms. There's a semi-square, so it's 45 degrees away from, hello Mr. Squirrel, Venus in Virgo and Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. So Venus is the ruler of Libra, remember, and Venus is at 5 degrees in Virgo, which is amazing because Venus in Virgo I often see as Mother Superior, and she really gets all the information and she looks at the facts and figures, and when it comes to relationships, it's like this person is suitable and this is not suitable. I remember I had a relationship here where I was like, initially when we first met, I was like, oh, this person really does certain things which are not ideal. And if this ever goes awry, it's going to be painful and unpleasant. And I didn't listen to that, and I continued with the relationship. And lo and behold, when it did end, it was unpleasant. So Venus in Virgo allows you to really have good boundaries and to make good decisions when it comes to your relationships. You know, like if you are in active addiction and committing crimes all the time, then it may not be most conducive to us getting married in future because you're going to be busy doing other things. Black Moon Lilith at 1 degree in Virgo. Please do listen to your judgment. Don't feel overly judgmental or critical. This is a tool that you're being given to weed out things which aren't going to enrich your life and to bring in people and things and places which will enrich your life. Think of Virgo as the nurse, or it's an earth sign, right? And it likes to have order. So it's the person who kind of plants a seed and then nurtures it and waters it and talks to it every day and watches it grow. So it's a support mechanism in your life. We've also then got the new moon forming a quincunx with Uranus in Taurus, the part of fortune in Taurus, and Jupiter in Taurus. So that basically means that if you take practical action around this and you get out into the real world, you'll experience major good luck and good fortune, meaning that this could lead to you meeting someone really solid and good in your life, which ultimately, I suppose, is the point of making these connections, that I want to make good connections that I can then maintain and keep in my life. So Jupiter really blesses this whole process. It's right on the ascendant at 13 degrees in Taurus. So the ascendant is sunrise, right? Excuse me. And symbolically in astrology, it means this is a whole new day. This is the dawn of a new era. And to have Jupiter on that rising means that this is going to be a very lucky day, a very good time for you to take practical steps that enrich your social life, your personal life, your romantic life. Uranus is at 22 degrees in Taurus, which is unbelievable because 22 is the master number of the builder. Uranus is the unexpected and miraculous, and Taurus is real life. So expect the unexpected. And this is really amazing for anyone who's become discouraged in dating, love life, trying again. You know, the last relationship was such a disaster. I'm going to have to go through all of this again. Yes, if you want to be with someone, you may have to go through it again, but you don't have to have such a nasty experience. You can actually connect with someone who is on the same page as you and it works the way it's planned, or you'd like it to work. Part of fortune at 14 degrees in Taurus means that this is someone you will find during this period, or a place you will find, or a thing. So there's an element of I need to make the connection first. I need to get myself out into the world to discover all of these things, and then it'll work. So you can't sit at home. I watched an interview recently, and this woman, she was like, oh yeah, you know, after my divorce, I bought this like house in the country, and I was there just kind of relaxing and healing for about a year. And then I ordered something, and the person rang at my doorbell, and then we've been together ever since. It does happen, good for her, but it's not the norm. Usually you have to leave your house to meet the soulmate, unfortunately. Other relationships, we have the moon connecting with, it doesn't quite connect with Neptune, that's the south node next to it. It sesqui squares Saturn at 0 degrees in Pisces. Saturn is structure and security. In Pisces, there's a sense of I feel well and comfortable and whole within myself. I don't feel rattled or anxious or desperate. So there's a sense of, oh, I can take my time with all of this. Whenever anything is at 0 degrees in the chart, you get the quintessential nature of that energy. So it's total spiritual connection and a sense of I'm home in myself. And that, again, it's so interesting because new relationships tend to work better if you approach them from a good place. Like, I'm happy at this lunch, I'm just chatting to the person next to me, then something can happen, right? But if you go to the lunch and you're like, oh, I'm desperate to make a friend, and you approach everyone with this frantic energy, it's much more likely that you leave that place with having made no friends. It's ironic and sometimes a bit cruel. But here, everything is set up to put you in a good place so you can make these good new connections. What else? We've also got a square between the new moon in Libra with Pluto at 27 degrees in Capricorn. So Pluto is transformation and change, the phoenix rising from the ashes. 27 is the hermit, enlightenment, and Capricorn is work, or what you're working towards. So really, you have this epiphany that if I want change to happen, I can make it happen. It's doable. It's not just a fantasy. So I love that about you here during this eclipse, that you are the master builder. You're so willing and kind of ready to dive back in and to say, I'm ready for something better. And that takes strength and optimism and courage, and I love it. Those things tend to pay off. We've also got something in the chart called a T-square. It's an opposition between the new moon in Libra with Chiron in the North Node, and then they have two squares sitting on top of that opposition, peaking with the midheaven in Capricorn. So the friction is, do I focus on actual work? Do I focus on my relationships, or do I focus on my relationship with my higher self? I would say, one, focus on the relationship with your higher self. Look at you being in a good place before you do anything. Then focus on your actual relationships and get creative towards working on those. So this eclipse, I'm saying that it's not so much about career at all, really, or work, or making major progress there. It's much more about your personal life, your friendships, your relationships, your love life. Let's see what else we have. That's the relationships the planets form. There's something else that's really weird in this chart that I've never seen. When you have two sextiles and two trines combining to create a big blue rectangle, that's called a mystic rectangle. And it's created between trines and sextiles, so it's things blending together nicely. But here, if you look in the center of the chart and you tilt your head, we've got two sesqui squares, so friction, 135 degrees between each planet. And then we have two semi-squares on either sides, creating a red rectangle. And if the blue one is the mystic rectangle, then this, I would say, is the energy rectangle, the friction rectangle that pushes you to take action despite fears. So you may wonder at yourself saying, where did I get all this confidence from here? It connects this power rectangle, it connects Saturn in Pisces with the new moon in Libra and Mercury in Libra, Venus and Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, and then Chiron and the North Node in Aries. So it's like, I feel so spiritually secure that I'm going to go out into the world and create some order and create some fabulous relationships for myself. Because I can. This is so nice. I love it. So anyone who's become a little bit discouraged, this is the day and the few days, 13th, 14th, 15th, where you really become encouraged again. I love it. Okay, anything else? I'm just looking at the center of the chart. We almost have a yod, but it's missing its sextile, and the two quincunxes don't connect, so I'm not going to count that, even me being super generous usually. We almost have another triangle of friction. We have a trine between the North Node in Aries and the midheaven in Capricorn. And then we have two sesqui squares connecting with Black Moon Lilith and Venus down at the bottom. But again, it doesn't quite connect, and it overlaps at the top. So friction between, do I do my own thing, do I work, or do I create order? So create order in your personal life more so than in your working life. I think that can wait a little bit, and there are major opportunities in terms of your personal relationships here. So please jump on that, make the most of it. Okay, and that's it. So that's what I get here for you during this eclipse. I'll make a separate video on the eclipse that happens on the 28th of October. Check out my weekly horoscopes. I go through each day of the week there. So if you're interested in the whole week on top of these 3 days, then check that out for more information. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to order your reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, numerology, and my intuition, and I combine all 4 things to answer any questions you may have. So if you're questioning life purpose, friendships, relationships, travel, what's coming up in future, ideal career for you, locations, family relationships, anything at all, money, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. I hope you have a wonderful time here during this eclipse, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best. Take care.